Hello everyone, this is Michael from Blue Sky Bio. In today's tutorial video, I will demonstrate the process of designing a crown for a titanium base. What's great about the crown and bridge functionality, whether you're designing a conventional crown for titanium base, or a multi-unit bridge, the functionality to design and to export is completely free of charge. You could export STL, you could also export the CAM configuration file for the mill as well, and there's no fee or charge or export usage involved. I'm demonstrating the process on version 4.11.2 of the BlueSkyPlan software. If you're using an older version, simply download from our website or go to help, check for updates. Okay, we're going to start the process flow by clicking on Crown and Bridge and then clicking on Crown for Titanium Base. Okay, use the shortcuts going across the top of the screen or the library configuration on your computer to navigate to the relevant data set. When you left click on one of the files, you could see the preview on the right hand side of the screen. Simply hold down the shift key, select the first file you want to import, select the last file you want to import to multi-select the relevant files, and then go ahead and click on OK. So while this is loading, there's basically 3 steps in the process that we're going to be doing. The first step is to import and align all the relevant data sets. The second step is to design the crown. And the third step is to convert the crown into a crown for titanium base abutments. So right now we're loading our models. The software shows us on screen the relevant models. Simply click the model for which you're going to be designing the crown, select the relevant jaw, select the relevant model type, and then click Continue to Alignment. We're going to be following the image on the top right of the screen. We're going to be placing 3 dots to create a horizontal plane to which the software will align the model. To mark a dot, simply hold down the shift key, left click with your mouse button, follow along with the image as to where the dot should be placed, and place all 3 dots. Once that is done, the model will be aligned accordingly in space. The model alignment will match the head alignment on the bottom left and will be aligned to the grid as well. Go ahead and click on Continue. At this point, you could use the widget to fine-tune the alignment if necessary. You could rotate, you could move the model. You could also use the Show All button to show all the relevant surfaces. You could toggle the widget and the grid on and off. And once you are happy with the placement, simply click Finish. The next step in the process is to align the scan body, to align the digital scan body to the scan body in the model or the intraoral scan. You want to rotate the models accordingly so that the scan body is visible on screen. If there are any surfaces that are interfering with the visibility, you could use the Surfaces panel and just hide the relevant surface. Go ahead and click on Continue to Scan Body. The notification that comes up on screen is just to confirm that the scan body is centered and visible. If you don't want to see that anymore, then simply click Don't Show again, and then click OK. We have a wide variety of different prosthetic systems in BlueSkyPlan. If your system does not appear on the drop-down list, then we could go ahead and add it. Simply send an email to plan@blueskybio.com, make an introduction to the relevant implant company, and we'll go ahead and take it from there. In addition, we've integrated the functionality to use an abutment as a scan body. So you could actually select an abutment from the full abutment list, and if you have an abutment in the model intraoral scan, then you could align the digital abutment to the model in the scan and use that to correlate the surfaces. Okay, so as we were before, I'm going to select the relevant scan body, and then let's take note before we do that. The model that's visible on screen with the red dot indicates where on the scan body we should click to perform the alignment. It's generally in the middle of the flat part of the scan body. So let's go ahead and click on OK, and then click the middle of the flat part of the scan body. The software is running the alignment to align the digital scan body to the scan body in the model or intraoral scan, and then the software prompts us to select the relevant crown, implant, and abutment, which is going to be added to the scene as well. So we have several different teeth libraries. You could browse through them, select the one that you like to use, select the relevant tooth, select the relevant overall size. Of course, we'll be able to resize and design the crown as we go along, and then select the relevant implant system and the relevant abutment. Once you have everything selected accordingly, simply go ahead and click on OK. Now we have our digital scan body aligned to the scan body from the scan. We have our crown, we have our implant and our abutment all added to the scene. We are now going to proceed with the second step of the process of designing the crown. So we're going to click Continue to Crown Design. The first thing that we could do here is switch over to our Teeth Surfaces panel and hide any of the surfaces that currently are not relevant. And then switch over to Teeth Edit panel, select the relevant tooth from the list, and click Manipulate Model. If at any point you've lost the widget and it's not appearing for you, simply confirm that you have the tooth selected and the Manipulate Model button selected. We can now activate the widget, rotate the tooth accordingly. We could right-click on the model and choose Toggle Visibility. Nope, it's not what I wanted. We could right-click and choose Toggle Transparency, and we could use the nodes to resize the tooth. We could use the large arrows to move the tooth accordingly. We could use the widget if we want to rotate or change the angulation. We could toggle on the opposing model. We could change the transparency or the visibility of that as well. And once we have the general size and the general positioning, we can move on to actually fine-tuning the crown design. So we could switch over to the Teeth Edit panel and use our editing tools to manipulate the design of the tooth. So we have our smoothing tool, we have global geometry transform. We could just grab and drag any of the nodes that we have here to move the relevant part of the tooth. We have add or remove material, so you could use your shift key and your left mouse button to add material, or the control and left mouse button to remove material. You have full control of the tool size and the tool strength. You could also change these using the scroll on your mouse. And we could go ahead and continue with the design of our crown. You can also use local geometry transform to simply grab any part of the tooth and just transform it a bit. And let's say we're done with our crown design. We could then move on to turn the crown into a crown for a titanium base. We do that by going over to our restoration design panel, confirm that we have crown on a titanium base, confirm the relevant jaw that we're designing for, confirm our surfaces. So the model that we're going to be using is our green model. The crown, we only have one crown selected. Tie base, we only have one tie base that's currently in the scene, and our antagonist is our lower jaw. I'm now going to click Start. Okay, we are now prompted to confirm the path of insertion, so we could either modify the widget arrow that we have on screen. We could also align the model in space and click Set Insertion Direction from View. Once that is done, we go ahead and click on Next. Define approximal area. The intention here is to use your Shift button and your left mouse button to identify the approximal area. At this point, if you've already designed your crown as we have done, simply click Do Not Modify Crown Shape or Placement. Then there's no need to define the approximal area, as the software is not going to resize the crown based on the proximal area. It will just keep the shape that you've already designed. So simply click Do Not Modify Crown Shape or Placement, and then click on Next. Once that is done, we can see the margin curve appears on the screen based on the crown that we previously designed. If you want to modify it, simply hold down the Shift key and use your left mouse button to just redraw the section that you would like to modify. Once that is done, click on Next. The software now has added the crown margin. We could edit it just by grabbing and dragging any of the nodes. You could also use the slider here to adjust the crown margin of how the crown attaches to that margin. You could also use titanium base margin to see how the margin attaches to the titanium base. Minimal thickness is the minimal thickness of the crown, and the crown cement spacer is the distance between the titanium base and the crown for the cement. If you'd like to create a crown screw channel, simply leave the box checked, or you could uncheck it to disable it, and then click on Next. We are now up to the final design stage. We could review the design of the crown. We could use the editing tools to make any final modifications. So I could use my control here if I want to remove some of those contacts. And if you've designed your crown and you're happy with the design, then I would uncheck the boxes to cut occlusal intersections and approximal intersections, as you've already taken those into consideration. If you like the software to remove them, just keep the check boxes checked. And once you're done, click the Next button. We now have our designed crown, which we could click the Export button. Before we do that, let's just take a look at our surfaces. So we have all of our original surfaces, as well as this crown with the D, which is the designed one. We also have the original crown that we added from the tooth library, which we could see visible here as well. If we go ahead and click on Export, or we could access as well from File, Export Data, we have our different exporting options. So you could select the quality of the export that you would like. If you like to export any of the surfaces, then you could do so as well. We have the functionality, which I didn't demonstrate in this video, but we have the capability to close the models, to hollow the models. We have all of that capability in the software, which we could find in other tutorial videos, but that's all in BlueSkyPlan as well. And then you have the actual designed crown. So if you want to export just STL file, that's the selected box here. And if you want to export the XML file for the milling machine, then you could export that as well. Simply click on Export, create a folder. I'm going to go to my desktop and click New Folder. I'll call this Crown Demo, and then click OK to export the files to the folder.